Hi, I'm Candy Industries Senior Editor Liz Parker. Today we're sitting down with Jeff Williams, who is the Vertical Strategy Lead of CPG and Pharma at InMobi. Thanks for joining us today, Jeff.
Good to be here, Liz. Thanks for having me.
Yep. So today we'll be chatting about candy trends and confectionery trends. So first off, can you tell me a little bit about InMobi Pulse, like what sort of research you do, especially pertaining to the confectionery or food industry?
Absolutely. InMobi Insights by InMobi, powered by Pulse. Pulse is our survey tool, and we have expansive reach. So 2 billion devices worldwide, almost 300 million in the US. Devices that we can serve essentially like an advertisement, but serve surveys to consumers. And so broad reach and scale across consumer sets. And we do a lot of different types of research off of the capability, things like consumer insights and general industry trends, like we're going to be talking today in confections, all the way down to campaign level insights for some of our partners on brand health and creative testing and things like that. So we service across largely the CPG community, but also things like QSR and financial, banking, retail, you name it.
Why are sweet trends now starting to catch up to savory snacks, like in terms of popularity?
It's a good question, and what we saw in a recent study was that both had approximately the same. Well, they both had the same 64% penetration within both of those two categories. And I think what we're seeing is largely a blending of what's going on in consumer trends and also company trends. Within that, it's largely been thought of that salty snacks and savory snacks were the large category, and confections were kind of down the road in terms of snacking. And the reality is from a household penetration level and consumer purchase perspective, they're neck and neck. And the reason why I think we're seeing a lot more of that is consumer trends and taste. So consumers are looking for that blending of savory and sweet, and you can speak to some of what's going on with the big guys like Hershey's. A lot of their acquisition strategy has been around bringing in savory snacks that they can blend with their confectionery portfolio and really meet that consumer demand for more of a blended savory and sweet taste palette.
Yep, I know Reese's just did that as well. I think they released Reese's Animal Crackers, which was kind of interesting. It was covered with Reese's peanut butter chocolate.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been a hotbed. It started with kind of chocolate covered pretzels back in the day, but it's exploding, and we're seeing it in a lot of different facets, in a lot of different ways. And I think it's a journey that's going to continue as we continue to talk about trends. That's a major flavor, taste, and consumer trend that's happening in the space.
And how do you think price is factoring into consumers' desire to indulge in these sorts of treats?
Great question, especially now with inflationary pressures and things like that. Consumers are eating out a lot less, and actually, I think it's been a good thing for a lot of the packaged candy goods, because it's seen as a little indulgence, a little bit of normality, as they might be cutting back on dining out or going out for fancy dinners and fancy desserts. They're looking for more at-home indulgences, and price is still, it's the biggest impediment to trial, versus the motivation is really on flavor. The largest impediment is really price and in trial dynamics. But the reality is consumers are, and CPG in general is continuing to rise, and we're seeing sales go up, even though there's a lot more value seeking and value buying going on across the space. They are seeking those little indulgences, whether that's things like chocolate at home or desserts and sweets, all the way down to at-home hair care and manicure, pedicures, and more salon services. Save the money on going out and spend it at home and indulge.
Right, that makes sense. Similarly, do you have any predictions for this year in terms of candy or confectionery flavor trends?
So flavor trends, Yeah, the one we were just speaking to, I think we'll continue to see a lot of merging of savory and sweet continue to boost. Flavor, I mentioned it's the number one motivator that 42% of consumers choose based on flavor to try a new confectionery brand or product. So I think, and deals and price is also up there. It's a number two dynamic. So, we're hitting on all the hot topics, right? So flavors as well as price dynamics hitting the marketplace. So continuation of blending sweet and savory, but also the influence of what's happening on a macro food trend, which is a lot of Asian and Indian flavors. So we're seeing that kind of across both the restaurant and food dynamics. I think that will be similar in confections. We'll see some spicy varieties, and we will see exotic fruit varieties, kind of a breakaway from some of the normal raspberry, watermelon, cherry flavors, and more into the exotic fruits, or bringing in curry spices and things like that into unexpected and delightful experiences for the consumers.
That sounds interesting. I'm sure we'll be seeing similar flavor options on the shelves soon as well.
Yeah, you start to see, blending of like jalapeno gummies and things like that, to where you get a bit of the sweet, but you get that kick and that surprise or delight that the consumers, and certainly younger consumers, Gen Zs and millennials, have a little bit of a varied palate. They aren't just looking for the sweet hard candies or chewy candies. They're looking for surprising innovations, and flavors the number one motivator to trial.
Yep. We see that a lot in the snack industry as well, like maybe a sweet and savory type snack, things like that.
Absolutely.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, but thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.